Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 27th of May, comes to you from London. And it's been really great looking at the alerts coming in. This is a new news alert service that we're launching to our clients. Next week to our enterprise clients, and these are just my alerts that are coming in this morning. I've set it up so I'm getting lots of different alerts, and these will be preset to run on the data that you've already got. So if you're configured on Bloomberg or Refinitiv Icon or Trayport, whatever you're running on, these alerts will just kick in, and so things like and they're all set as medium and short term and very short term alerts, so really quite interesting. So here we're looking at TTF, for example. These targets, as they come in, you get a news alert, and what's really cool is you can actually open the charts for these alerts, and it's actually got the news on the chart as well, which if we look at the chart here, you can actually just see the alerts as you scroll around the chart. So it's really quite valuable, and then you can actually just click and open that alert. So it's the same view there, and of course if you want the real-time chart, you can do that with your alerts on. So really quite cool to set the system up, and lots of different alerts. So these are things like Bollinger alert on silver, so it's overbought, it's falling back through the trend line, so that's quite cool. Things like the Cap Quant has given medium term new upside target this morning, and you can just literally go through and set these alerts on everyone. So new target for Nat Gas there. This one's really quite cool. The market tracker index here. So it's telling us that the Hang Seng is moving back from the oversold area. German power here just falling back through the Bollinger Band. So you can set these alerts up for pretty much all you want. And of course the targets is the really valuable one. So it's really good to watch these alerts coming in. So just taking a look at what's going on in the markets. We've got the dollar index just falling back after a big week. This is the weekly chart, my long-term, medium term, daily chart, and short term. And so we've seen the dollar really just having a pretty bad week, falling back there, but still, of course, bullish on those long and medium term trends. And that means, of course, that the euro's had a good week against the dollar, recovering really off that low. So this low is now really significant at around 103.50. That's the level now that we need to watch for holding. Of course, we've got downside targets suggesting that we won't hold that level. Sterling sitting at 126. We do have a target on the short-term chart. In fact, we've now got two targets to 128, so that's quite interesting. And that's what we call a cluster when you've got two targets pointing to the same area. Taking a look at Bitcoin, not looking good, still struggling below that $30,000 level. We did touch 25,000 a couple of weeks ago, and that's going to be really significant just to see if we hold that level. But for the moment, we've got downside targets, not looking great. And again, in my alerts, I did notice I had targets coming in for Bitcoin. So if you're trading crypto, this can apply to whatever you're trading. It doesn't really matter. Even stocks, you can. So I've got here a new downside target for Alphabet, for example. So taking a look at some of the stock indices, we're up 2% on the S&P. Again, quite a good week this week. So really quite interesting there. And we've got the futures up a little bit this morning. So strong week for the market, back into short-term bullish territory. Doesn't change the fact that we've got these long-term downside targets though, of course. So we are just seeing a bit of an improvement there. And the same with the NASDAQ, recovering off the low there. But again, these downside targets longer term. So it just says that we're short-term bullish, medium-term bearish, and long-term bearish. So the key thing is just understanding those different time horizons, and that's the way those alerts are set up as well. The VIX volatility coming back to 27, so to the fear index just a little bit better. Looking at the DAX, the cash market for the DAX is up 0.5% this morning. Again, short-term bullish, some targets to aim for there. but of course we are still medium term. We've got work to do, and when we do cross that cloud, I will get an alert to tell me that we've moved back into medium term bullish territory. Asian markets looking pretty strong. The Hang Seng quite interesting, and again I did notice that I had an alert on the Hang Seng. It was quite recent this morning. I noticed there was an alert. There we are. The market tracker turns bullish. We've already talked about that. So and it's really just all part of keeping track of the markets and what's happening with your technicals. The S&P 500 index, the S&P Sensex index is up in India, but still has work to do to get through there. The Aussie market up 1%, looking a bit better after a bad start to the week post-election there. We'll look at the energy mix more closely in a minute. Wheat is up 1%, has had a pretty bad week there on wheat, but we are still very much in bullish territory and very big upside targets if we make new highs there on wheat. Sugar is up, corn is up as well. So looking very strong still. Bullish on the medium and long-term trends. Short-term we're bearish, but we've got some new short-term upside targets there. Gold has been a real feature this week, just really struggling at that, coming back and touching that 1800 level, looking a little bit better short-term, and we've got an upside target to 3%, which is activated, and again the long-term target's looking pretty good. And silver has been giving some quite good alerts. I've been watching that, and that's looking good as well. US 10-year yields as well. Quite interesting, we're seeing downside targets here back to 2.4%. Whether those downside targets will be reached, they're counter trend, and we'd expect the counter trend targets not to be met, which would be bullish confirmation for the yield, bearish for bonds, of course. Now, taking a look at the energy mix, we'll go straight to the charts here, and we look at Brent crude. We were bullish to clients yesterday on Brent crude, and we broke out, and we're of course long-term bulls of crude. We've got new upside targets, and they've been kicking in on the alerts as well, which has been really fascinating to watch. So keep an eye on those. The crude oil, we had really big targets yesterday, and really once they kicked in, 90 bar highs for crude, and to see all these targets kicking in as we were watching yesterday. Just all through the day we kept seeing new targets. This one was a really brilliant one. This is on the short term, not the very short term. 122 was the target there. So we're literally watching these targets kicking in all through the day. Looking at WTI, again looking very bullish indeed. That pattern really bullish. US nat gas just pulling back this morning. We were neutral on nat gas because we are just wandering through the cloud, and we do have these 1 minute downside targets, so it does just look like we'll pull back today, but the reality is the long-term targets on nat gas are looking very significant indeed. Bob was also giving me good alert targets yesterday, and again we're just pushing higher there, new upside targets, really looking like a triangle breakout, and of course breaking to new highs, leading crude. We're seeing that on most refined products, of course. Coal looking very strong for that breakout as well on coal. Taking a look at emissions, no change this morning on carbon, and again we were neutral here. Looking pretty strong above 85 euros. We just can't get above that level at the moment. We've got this upside target. If we break higher, that would be key, and again I'm watching that in my alerts, but 87 will be the upside target if we can break 85.20. That was all out in the reports of course this morning, and to just look at the reports, you just go to the energy charts today, energy daily, and there's the report, and you can just literally fly through all the reports this week and just watch those trends change. Quite cool. And looking at the report, we can actually just see all the targets given. So that was our call on emissions this morning. Taking a look at gas, weaker this morning. We were bearish on TTF this morning, back below this level. UK gas we felt just looked a little bit better than TTF, but again that's deteriorating. We were neutral there, we were bearish on TTF. And looking at German power, looking very strong on the medium and long term charts. We're getting some very good upside targets, but we need to break above 235 to run. We've got a target here to 233 on the 1 minute chart. Watch your OTC targets coming in, and we'll keep an eye on those alerts as well. That's it for today. Until Monday, happy charting. Have a great weekend. See you then.